All right, boys, how's it going?
Great.
We
good.
episode number 2, week number 2, kicking it. Everything all good this last week? Anything crazy happen? Nothing.
No,
Everyone's
I don't
just
think
chilling?
so.
No,
Yeah.
just keeping it simple.
Yeah.
No big work, no big crazy projects.
I'm always brewing.
You're always brewing.
yeah.
You just finished an album.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
finished
Sent it
mixing and sent it off for some mastering. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of fun. Was it a long process?
Yes.
Yeah.
It always is. It's always
Especially when it's
longer.
your own music, it's a long process.
Oh, it's your
Yeah,
music.
yeah,
Oh, it wasn't for somebody else.
12 songs.
12
songs,
Okay, and is
Well,
that for Teacup Romance?
Yeah, it's for Teacup, yeah.
Okay, so that's an upcoming album that everybody should go check out. Teacup Romance. You're on Spotify.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Napster.
Napster?
Yeah, you can stream. Napster's a streaming website.
Napster's still a thing?
Oh, yeah.
No way.
Yeah, they're a streaming website, and they pay artists pretty damn well.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
that.
Spotify's
I did
the
not
worst.
know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know Napster was even still around.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay, we're going to go down a nostalgic route here then. All right, that sounds good. What about you? What have you been doing last week?
Kind of the same thing as Ryan, except I'm probably about 6 weeks behind in the process.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Your own band, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
A band I'm in, yeah.
Okay.
A gal that I've known for a really long time. She's property manager for like 12 suite apartment.
Okay, yeah.
So she writes songs about everybody in the apartment.
What?
Yeah, so she'll have a song about like Doug, and she'll have a song about like Diane, and you can tell right away the ones she likes and doesn't like because
Is it meant to be like comedic?
well,
Or is it serious?
it's serious, but comedy ensues, right?
yeah.
But no, some of them are like kind of sad, like one guy got sick, so she sings about that, right?
Yeah.
But then there's like a gal that she has like a nemesis, and her name's Susan, so we have a song called "Shut Up, Susan," and it's just about her like venting about this this lady.
Really?
It's hilarious, yeah. So we're working on that. Last night we were doing just harmonies and stuff like that, right? Some overdubs, but we recorded all live off the floor, so we're trying to kind of keep it. Loosey-goosey,
Fun.
right?
Yeah.
She wants
Simple.
it to sound really raw.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
good.
So
Nice.
yeah.
And are they coming into your space to record?
Yeah, we actually recorded the whole thing live off the floor at the aviary.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so she wouldn't let me isolate anybody. I had to have everybody in the same room. So,
Interesting.
and there's an acoustic guitar, so I wasn't able to like.
Filter
But it's
out
cool.
that.
That's what she wanted. She wanted it to. So there's lots of bleed and stuff, but
Okay.
like it's gonna sound really live. It's gonna sound like we're all in the same room.
And so what kind of mics do you use to record that? 58s?
For vocals,
Yeah.
I just used a 7B.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But these are pretty ISO'd as is.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
they do a
like,
pretty good job.
I was really surprised actually, like just soloing up the 7B, like there's barely any bleed. Like there's a
Right.
snare drum, 20 feet away, 25 feet away, and you just like hear a little.
Oh, so you didn't do it on the stage? You used the whole room?
Yeah, I kind of had her on the side stage by the corner there.
Okay.
And I built I tried to do a little isolation in that
Okay,
corner,
okay,
right?
Yeah.
But her big thing was she wanted to have eye contact with all of
Absolutely.
us, right?
Oh,
So I bass,
yeah,
I
yeah.
DI'd bass, right?
Yeah.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
And then I had the guitar player on the stage, but I had his amp in the green room.
Yeah,
So I was
that
able
makes
to
sense.
isolate that out.
Pretty good
right?
isolation.
It's not
already.
bad. So the biggest bleed is the drums into the mic for the acoustic. That's where and her vocals is getting into that mic too.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's playing. She's playing.
She's
as well.
playing
Oh, okay,
acoustic,
yeah.
Gotcha.
singing,
Gotcha.
and there's a drum kit in the room.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm dealing with a little bit of bleed, but
Mhm.
it's cool. We had some pretty tight players on there, and it's
And
good.
any of your own projects?
No, I'm not really a writer.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't really write.
You're just playing.
I'm just playing. Yeah,
Playing and MCing.
playing and
Because
MCing.
people
and-
can go check you out at Blues on White.
That's right. Yeah, my
Yeah.
cover band has a residency there, so we're there once a week. We're the
Thur-
Commandeers.
You're
Thursdays?
there once a week.
Sorry, did I say once a week?
Yeah.
I went once a month.
Oh, once a
Yeah,
month.
sorry, yeah.
You're
Like,
wishing
damn,
for
son.
once a week. Right? Anybody got
Yeah, once a month we're at Blues on White, the Commandeers. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So
Awesome.
Yeah.
And is that Thursdays or is there a specific day? or
it's
varies?
it'll be a Friday, Saturday.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, we
Right
play
on.
Friday, Saturdays, and then when the patio opens in the summertime, we're out there a couple extra times a month as well.
But you're just just screaming for those days.
I love the summertime.
Yeah,
man.
that's pretty sweet.
yeah.
Yeah. That patio's covered, right?
No,
Oh, it isn't?
no.
Oh, no way.
No, there's like the parking lot there, right? Remember when Megatunes was there? And there's
right.
the parking lot.
Megatunes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a place
That's
I
old
remember.
school.
Yeah. So Megatunes used to be there, and then I think, and then then commercial hotels on the other side. They had a parking lot in between, and then they've taken that over and made a really awesome patio.
That's where Fat Frank's was too, right? Or is that?
Yeah, Fat Frank's was there. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah, the Fat Frank's Shack.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
shack.
I almost
Little
forgot
shack.
about that. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly where it is. Yeah, so that's where the patio is now.
Yeah.
And then they kind of set up, I don't know, a little stage, I guess.
Yeah.
They got a little PA out there, and yeah, we rock it. It's cool. Three sets a night.
Is the audience pretty like standard? Like is it like a consistent regulars, or do you see, because you're there fairly often, so
Yeah.
you get pretty familiar with the faces over a fairly quick time.
Yeah.
Do the faces change a lot, or does it stay the same?
Well, no, there's definitely a group of regulars,
Right.
right? But what changes is when the university crowd is in or out. So we'll notice that, like in the summertime, right?
Yeah.
They're not there.
Yeah.
And then even like during like Christmas break, you can tell when they come back, right? A lot of people like go home and stuff for Christmas, and you can tell when the university people come back.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden the crowd's younger at a certain point of the night. But that's, if anything, to answer your question, certain points of the night have a certain crowd, right? So like our first set is like usually all the regulars, all the old dogs, and they're all coming up saying hi. Oh yeah, good to see you guys again, right?
Yeah.
And then second set hits, and there's like a crossover of like the older crowd and then the younger crowd. So the second set's usually like the peak. That's when everybody's like out on the dance floor, having a good time. And then later on
They're
at
buzzed.
night,
They're not smashed and they're not
buzzed.
sober.
Night's still young,
They're buzzed.
but-
They're like, we're feeling good. We're feeling good.
Yeah.
I got about another hour until that next drink kicks in.
Well, yeah, and then the third set is when like that the regular older crowd will kind of clear out.
Yeah.
And then we'll usually get like a rush of like a younger crowd that comes in during the third set. There's always like a group of people that were at some other bar and they were like, let's go to commercial, like
Yeah.
Well, what time's the third set?
third set starts at 12:30.
Okay, so yeah, you're right in the middle of whatever's going on.
Exactly. So we're third set is 12:30 to 1:30, right? So we're
Okay.
pretty close to closing the bar down at that point.
Yeah.
So it can get a little at the end of that third set.
More
can get a little
interesting.
Messy.
More lively.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Sometimes the band too.
It's hard to pace yourself,
It is. It really is, especially because like I'm doing the whole MC lead singer thing, right? And I'm doing I'm trying to get people involved. I'm trying to get people out on the dance floor. So we're doing lots of like sociables and everything. All right, let's do a cheers, everybody, right? And then all of a sudden somebody, like last time we were there, somebody was like, "Oh, you guys like tequila?" I'm like, "Yeah, we love tequila." And all of a sudden five shots of double tequila are on the
That's
stage.
too much tequila.
Right? And I got two guys in the band that don't drink tequila. So now there's 5 shots or 10 shots for 3 guys,
Shane's sitting there like, can't let any of this go to waste.
That's right, buddy.
So do you structure your sets that way too, knowing
Yes.
the night, you know how to structure your sets. So I'm like,
Exactly.
we're going to play a little more mellower, play to the, back in my DJ days, it was the same thing. Like we knew that weddings and stuff like that, like grandma and grandpa were only going to stick around until about, if we've got the dance started at 8 to 9 o'clock, with their grandma and grandpa had like an hour and a half, 2 hour window to play some polkas, some waltzes, some country tunes.
You don't do your bangers.
Yeah, you don't do your bangers, but you still gotta you gotta
Keep 'em
play
excited.
that line,
Yeah.
right? There was country tunes that have enough waltz vibe to them that you
Yeah.
could get the older people out there and the 2-stepper that wanted to get involved, and you had to really figure that little niche out on how many old people are there. Then there were just some old people that just wanted to tap their toes; they didn't want to get up.
Yeah.
So you play a song, you're like, this gets them every time, and nobody got up, and you're like, oh, what happened? But you could see toes tapping, so you're like, all right, no, this is
They're still
good.
nervous.
They're still there. They're just not out there, right? And
Yeah.
then the young guy would be up and like, I play something, I play that. You're like, well, just give me like 20 minutes, half an hour, give me like 5-6 more songs, and I'll hit your song for sure. But we got a few other people in here that we need to clear out, and appease first, and then we'll get into that.
It's easier as a DJ to let's not do this. As a band, your set's kind of determined.
Right.
You probably do some like, hey, let's do this song?
Yeah, we can pull some audibles every once in a while for sure.
There
yeah.
and there.
Our set's really
you
designed.
gotta feel it though. But you can't be like, hey, we're gonna do this right now because you are keeping an eye on the crowd.
Yeah.
But you need to keep an eye on your band.
Yeah.
And you're trying not to show the crowd that you're changing face.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got little things I say and stuff too. Sometimes, somebody will be like, hey, let's do this song. And we'll be like, oh, yeah, you want to do, should we really do that? Blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, a couple seconds later, I'm like, all right. So then I usually do a thing like, where I'm like, sorry, everyone, we actually just broke up there for a second, but we're back together, and now we've decided, all right, here we go.
Yeah,
just stuff like that. Right?
Well,
but our set's really tailored to kind of the blues crowd. And then, every once in a while, we'll go out. Like, we were doing some corporate gigs in Drayton Valley. And Drayton Valley is a country town.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, yeah, we're working on adding some more country to our set. But, like, I had one guy come up to me, and this is later on the night, third set, Christmas party, Drayton Valley. People are into their cups. And this guy just walked. He was so drunk, I don't know if he could talk. But he just walked up to me with his phone. I think we're doing a friggin' Doors song or something like that. And this guy just walks up to me with his phone open like this. And he's playing a George Strait song on like Apple Music. And he's just like, meh, meh. I'm like, sorry, man, we don't know that one.
You're like, great. I'm on it.
Yeah, we're on it. Yeah, next one. Here we go.
That's the worst. I would do that all the time. Hey, play this song. And it's some like obscure, like ludicrous song. Like not ludicrous, but just some crazy song. And I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it. And like 4 hours later, I haven't played it. And that guy just keeps, like, especially the metal guys.
Right.
Like, you're at a wedding and like, it's just not a metal crowd.
Dude, play Mastodon.
Tip jar.
Yeah,
you want a song, you tip, and maybe I'll play it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's what like.
Comes
not
back,
to
takes his tip back because he plays the song.
Yeah. Well, not to sound like a dick or anything, but for those people out there, like you do have to get a little like stern.
Oh, yeah.
With some people, right? Especially if they're getting drunk and stuff. So you kind of got to match the intensity sometimes.
Yeah.
I've had things where people are like, play Freebird, and the guy's doing that for like 2 hours, and he's like trying to make his buddies laugh, but later on it gets a little annoying, and I'll just get really serious with people, and I'll be like, give me $100 bill right now. I'm going to play Freebird. And you'd be amazed how many people just walk away from that.
Right.
I've gotten so many people off my back by just being like, $100.
Yeah.
We'll play that song. Give us $100 right now. And every once in a while, somebody will give you the $100, so you play the song. Yeah, shit. Okay, everybody brings out their phones and bringing up tabs and lyrics.
Yeah, your guys are like, Shane, what are you doing?
This isn't worth $100.
Well, we played a wedding out in Pemberton, BC, and it's my cousin's wedding, and it was awesome. Like just beautiful setting underneath a mountain. We were on this guy owned a farm where he was. Like it was like a landscaping farm, so he was growing trees and bushes and stuff, right? And he made it was his nephew's wedding, so he just made it all beautiful for it. And we were playing there. We played our 3 sets, we played our 3 hours, and the dance floor was just going, like we're on our last song and the dance floor is going, and the guy who owns the place kind of off stage, and he, come here, he's like, you guys got to keep going. You got to keep going. I'm like, we don't really have anything else, He's like, I'm like, besides, like, it's gonna cost you, He's like, how much? I'm like, $1,000. And he's like, oh, that's too much money. And he walks away. And then we finish the last song, and the whole crowd's like, boo, boo, whatever. And then he comes up to me, he's like, okay, $1,000. And I'm like, okay, can we have a 20-minute break and take a pee? And then
figure out what we're going to do.
And then the 5 of us just like, okay, what songs are we going to do? Who knows what? Yeah, you know this and you know that. And then we just like,
repeat a song.
No.
I can stumble my way through that one. Sure, what the heck.
So then we just
remix
ended up.
a song here. Like, let's take that song up. Take that song up a few beats. Or just play your last set all acoustic.
Or what you would do is the first set, right? So hopefully nobody remembers. But we ended up like scraping together like 8 or 9 songs that everybody kind of knew, and then we just all kind of had our phones and shit out, and we were just kind of going with it. And you know what, the party was awesome, and that 4th set was awesome, and we had a great time. And I think we played till like 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that. It was great. It was outside. It was was awesome. We were in a little tent and
the small town private events are they're cool for that. Like I know like going out to like small towns and little halls and stuff like where like they just like pay the hall like $500 and they just give the person the keys and they're like, there you go. Like I don't know if that's still a thing anymore, but
it kind of is.
Yeah, right. Like, and so they just give the hall to the people and then they just lock it up and then you show up in the morning and clean up or whatever. But those are some of my best nights. Is you show up, you start playing, and it's like 2 a.m. and you're like, all right, I'm shutting her down, and the guy comes up or the girl comes up, and they're like, keep going. It's like, well, it's gonna cost, like whatever. And I've had that where I said, like $1,000, and they're like, nope, no way. And then this last song, I'll even get on the mic. I'm like, all right, folks, like last song, right? You play one of the classic last songs, and then everyone's like, ooh, and there's still like 30, 40 people. And the girl went out and got money from everybody and came up with $1,000. And she's
crazy.
like, no,
That's kind of a good way to do it.
It was.
If you want to keep dancing.
Yep. And they're like, oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's
and they were a
how
young
it goes,
crowd,
right?
young wedding. Like they were like 22, 23. And we partied till about 6 a.m. And they kept going. They were loving it. I've done grads, like safe grads. And they just, like, they'll just keep going. And they just have a
You're just like, I'm running out of music.
Well, like at a point, I was like, and you do get people that like play that song again, and you've played I've played Kesha S&M like 4 times tonight. And they're like, do it again, like whatever's the hottest song at the time or whatever, right? And you just play it again, like whatever, and they lose it. And what's funny about those, and I assume with the band too, because there's some classics that you're gonna play that people just lose it over, right?
Yeah.
In the DJ world, I mean, our I don't DJ anymore, but in the DJ world, the catalog was so much larger where you could whip out songs that you're like, this group ain't going to know this song. And you throw up a song like, I don't know, like Ghostbusters or like YMCA, obviously. And this crowd that you've never in a million years have guessed, they jump on that song, they are on it. And they are like, yeah. And you're like, really? Like, this song is way past you by like 50 years, like 40 years. Or even like, especially country, like Thank God I'm a Country Boy, John Denver.
Yeah.
People would lose it over that song. Even some of the Patsy Cline stuff. Like you get the ladies and they just loved it. Shania Twain, all that stuff. Great music. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh crap, I had some pretty good times.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure as a band, like it's the same thing. What about you? Because your genre is a lot different.
Well, I don't play the corporate party crowd.
Right.
Like
yeah. But I mean, your crowd and your genre has its own nuances. Like it's got its own. You. I'm sure you get some rowdies.
Yeah. We've one show we did at Buckingham, and we only do like maybe a cover once in a while, but we did a Sum 41 cover, and immediately we just started playing. Just the whole crowd just rushed the stage.
Which song?
Still waiting.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
rushed the stage. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then someone broke a beer bottle right in the middle. And then the whole crowd just like just opens up. We're like, oh man, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And he just ruined it.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's in our genre, like I guess with any genres, people drink.
Yeah.
So depending on that type of crowd that night.
And what level
they
get
drinking,
themselves to. Yeah.
It gets a little too like
It's weird though, because you have a bird's eye view. Well, we all have a bird's eye view as a musician or a performer.
Well, and techs too.
And techs as well. Yeah, well, that's right. We're all techs. It's weird when you have that bird's eye view and you can see the room changing. Like you can see, and it's funny. Like I remember, like even at On the Rocks, there were the odd night where you just start seeing those shoulder bumps, those pushes, and you'd look at people's faces and you're like, this is not going to be a fun night. Yeah. And like even the bar could tell, and sometimes the owner would come into the booth and be like, yeah, let's like tone it down a bit on the music. Like, let's bring it down.
Interesting.
And yeah, so good bar managers, I think they get it. Like
they know
they want to sell booze, but they also don't want to nobody wants trouble.
Yeah,
right? Like
they don't want to have to deal with the cops or whatever.
And you're just getting that, like, and nobody wants the night to end early. Like you don't want cops coming in at 11.
Yeah,
because a bachelor party came in and they're blitzed out of their tree. So that was always and same thing with grads and stuff like that. That like how you can tell, and you're trying to change the mood. I mean, for me, I can change the mood because I have a massive catalog of pop, funny stuff, country stuff to keep people mellow. I got metal stuff to pick people up, dance stuff to get people raging, things like that. For bands, it's a lot more difficult because you're just kind of like, I hope you guys like us.
Yeah,
Well, and then
this
Is what we're playing because this is what we know. And like, how many songs would you say outside of your set list you can play, like you can pull from? Like, do you have like 40 songs and you're like, all right, well, tonight we're only going to do like, I don't know how many songs are in a set, like 12 or...
Yeah, 9 to 13.
9 to 13, okay.
Yeah.
So
depending on the length.
you've got your set list, but then if you're like, do you ever have those sets where you're like, this set's not landing? Or like by third song in and you're looking at the rest of your set list, do you ever do that and go,
always,
hey boys, like let's change it up, let's move to this?
As the lead singer and like Ryan said, the guy who's reading the crowd and then reading the band, I'm kind of the conduit between that.
Right.
And my group knows too. I'm full of, professional musicians. Most of my guys in my band are doing that full time. Don't have other jobs.
Yeah.
So, I'm constantly looking at the set list, constantly. Like I'll be singing a song and I'm planning out the next 3 songs after that.
So you're not necessarily following the list. You're saying like, let's skip this one, guys. Let's move to the next one.
For sure.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And like my group's at a point now too where like we're able to do that. We're able to audible, kind of on the fly. And our sets have been baked in here for a little bit. Actually, my cover band we're getting together in the next couple of weeks because we're kind of like, okay, we got to learn like 12 new songs and they got to be kind of like different songs, like we're like, fuck it, let's do a Shania Twain song or whatever, like we'll like learn some new stuff. But like, no, our set lists are at the point now where we're like, so we played a Christmas party this past weekend.
Okay.
So we were in the Fantasyland ballroom and, the Christmas party was like 80s theme, right?
Okay.
But they called it Blast from the Past. So we got booked for it, and we don't really do a bunch of 80s tunes. But my whole thing, and I even kind of said on the microphone, I'm like, it's like an 80s theme party. We're going to play a bunch of songs from the 70s, and we're going to play a bunch of songs from the 90s, and we'll meet you in the middle.
Interesting. All right. Yeah.
Right? So, but like you could tell that like as we were going through the set list, I'm like, oh, that one didn't work. Okay, so I know that one didn't work. So looking at my set list, I'm like, okay, let's skip that. Maybe that won't work. Okay, here we go. This one should like tie it back in, So it's tough. It's kind of stuff you got to do on the fly, and it's all just experience and stuff and like learning how to work with the moment, right? So
have you ever tried to do because I loved these in the DJ world, mega mixes, where like they would take like a variety of songs and play them into each other. So almost like DJ, but like you're doing like the big one was, and the killer one, it is crushed every dance floor. It was awesome. People loved it. Was the Grease Lightning. So there was like, you're the one that I want, who, but then it would mix in all the songs from that because they were all fairly poppy dancey, and people just loved it because it would just. So if you could take like a Blink-182 or like, okay, so like what Linkin Park did with Jay-Z when they did the Collision Course album, where you could take like a rap and mix it in with one of the rock songs.
Right.
So you could start out, because you're a rock band, I guess you're like a bluesy band, but you could start out with like a version, or even just mixing up a song where like this is the song, but we're playing it like in a more jazzy or a more bluesy vibe.
Right.
I don't know how that works. But can you do that?
It's possible.
Yeah.
It depends how it's executed.
Right.
And I've seen bands do medleys, so they'll do like the verse, chorus, and then something that's maybe a similar key and vibe of a different song they'll mix.
Okay.
So they're not playing the whole song where it's like maybe the bridge is really boring or something like that. They're just keeping it exciting.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Like, so the DJ that night, the DJ came on after us, and he did like a 6-song mashup. And it was like Michael Jackson and The Killers and Whitney Houston. But he picked like 4 or 5 songs that all were like at like 120 BPM or whatever, right? And he just blended them all kind of seamlessly together.
Mm-hmm.
But he ripped through like, actually, I think it was more than 4 or 5 songs. He ripped through like 8 or 9 songs in like 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Because you're only playing chunks of them.
And we're like, whoa, man, don't
Don't
blow it all at the start here, right?
Yeah.
But it was good. He was a good DJ, yeah. But I was in one of my original bands years ago. We were like we called it folk hop. So we had like, it's kind of like kind of like R&B rhythm, bass, drums, but then we had like, we had a rapper, but we also had like acoustic guitar and mandolins, and so it's kind of a bit of a mashup. And then we would do kind of like what you're saying, Ryan. We would do a melody of about 8 songs, and like this was a while ago, so I'm trying to remember. But we picked these songs, and we intentionally picked these songs to like make it jarring. So it would be like we went from like a Gorillaz tune, like the Happy song.
Yeah.
And then we'd go from that to Benny and the Jets.
Oh.
Right? By Elton John.
Yeah.
And then from Benny and the Jets, we'd go to, I think like Billie Jean. And then we'd come back, and then we'd do a Dr. Dre song. We'd go into like Still DRE.
That's awesome. Yeah,
and people just lost their minds.
For sure.
And we'd only do chunks of it, right? But we'd do hard stops, and people would be like, yeah. And then it'd be like, into like, on the Still DRE.
Smash.
And people just lose their minds, right? And
I
they
bet.
loved it. Yeah, it was good. It was fun. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So then on your scene with the punk, do you strategically throw in those covers? Or
well, everything's planned. We can't do it on the spot. Our sets are so short. Like we get half-hour sets, 40-minute sets.
Right.
We want to play our songs.
Yeah.
And you guys are doing clicks and stuff too.
Yeah, we're on a click track. So everything's
sorry, I don't know if I was supposed to spell that or not.
No. Bands who can play to a click live are probably it's more impressive to me.
There you go.
See, I've never been on the playing end with a click in my ear. Like, because you're hearing that click the whole time, right?
Yeah, I got cues. I got my Alfred. I call him my Alfred. He cues us in.
Okay.
Because I love when bands just like are so tight. We don't need a count in. We're counting in our ears, but no one hears it.
Yeah.
It's just like explosive. It's just so tight, and like it feels like a chaos that's really controlled.
Yeah.
Cool.
Actually, I noticed that when I went and saw your guys' set at the Avery. Whereas there was one transition you guys did, and you have to excuse me, I don't remember the name of the songs, but it was like, you guys played, you stopped, and then you just went right into the next one. Yeah. It was like a brief pause. It was like, whap, and then boom, you went right into it. I just remember because Lara just like rammed her head down. I was like, she just broke her own neck. I was like, holy shit.
Badass.
Yeah, the controlled chaos. So, So if we do a cover, it's planned.
Okay.
It's planned.
Yeah.
We don't do things. We can't really change things on the fly.
Do you click the cover as well?
We did once.
Yeah. So what's
it was just more of a complicated song.
Right. Yeah. So what's Alfred?
Alfred's just like a computer generated voice.
Oh, cool.
So
was he like 1, 2?
Yeah, it'd be like over and song incoming, over and over. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Thanks, Alfred.
Like the butler.
Yeah. Well, I picked the British guy because who else?
Oh man,
yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that keeps you pumped enough where you're just like
1, 2, 3.
Like, yes, and now your next song is coming in.
I've done it in the past in the old band where we're all throwing jokes, like during a ring out, be like, yeah, that was good, boys.
Oh, shit.
Right on. And to contrast that, on the other side of things, right? In the cover band, because Ryan's talking about like having a dedicated set there to a set time. They have everything mapped out and planned out. On the other side of things, like, because what we do with the cover band, it doesn't need to be like that, right? And I'll actually like read the crowd, and if a slowdown happens and I start seeing people losing the dance floor a little bit, I'll just turn to my drummer. I give him like one of those, and he puts in like 2 or 3 BPMs, and all of a sudden it like it just gives you that little boost energy back again, and that's stuff that we're
in
constantly
the song that you're playing.
Yeah, right in the middle
So
of the song.
you're speeding the song
very slightly. Yeah.
I think like that's a huge psychological thing that people don't. Yeah, like if you're not in it, you don't know
the things that musicians can do.
Yeah.
Just change things up.
Yeah, just slightly, right? Yeah. But I've also we had a guy in Drayton Valley. We got off stage and he's like, "You guys do those hip songs. You sound like them. The band sounds like it, but you're just playing everything way too fast, man."
But he knows.
Yeah. He noticed. Yeah,
yeah.
He noticed. But like.
Well, especially hip though, like because Tragic is a Canadian thing. Mm-hmm. You're gonna find some like drop dead diehards.
Oh, this guy was a diehard, and he was giving us like a little bit of like, you guys know the boys. He's like, the boys don't play it that fast, you guys know the boys don't play it that fast. We're like, hey man, I'm just trying to get people to shake their asses,
Exactly. Oh man, that's funny. Okay, so you were talking about Napster earlier, and just the the that's like hardcore nostalgia.
Did you use Napster?
Man, I did.
Yeah.
So I had dial-up because I was on the farm, and so everyone else in town, they had like faster, but it's still like
Yeah, the slowest.
and if you couldn't use the phone at the same time, yada yada, and it would like load 10 songs, hit download, go to sleep. Wake up in the morning and one of them might be downloaded.
Yeah, and hopefully it's an actual song.
It's an actual song and it's not some garbage.
Yeah.
You know, because then there was that don't want to lift you up, don't want to, but what was that song?
Never gonna lift.
Yeah,
you
never go.
up.
Rick Astley.
Rick Astley, because there was a bunch of people that were like Rick rolled. That's what it was, and they were like labeling those songs. That was a big thing on YouTube. Remember,
Still
you used
is.
to like it still is.
Yeah.
Oh man,
People get Rick rolled all the time.
Oh man,
We might even Rick roll you right now.
I think I probably just Rick
Never
rolled
gonna lift
myself.
you up. Never
No!
gonna- Is that like getting iced?
The Rick roll thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that like getting
Getting
iced?
Like
You know,
just-
iced.
like shut down? You mean?
No, like Smirnoff Ice. You guys ever?
no. I
know
never
that?
know. I never even heard that.
So
one.
it's the thing. Getting iced is like for example, one of my buddies in high school, like it was his birthday, and when he goes to fire up the barbecue, he has some buddies over for burgers. He goes to fire up the barbecue, opens up the barbecue, and there's a Smirnoff Ice in there, and you have to drink the whole thing
Oh, no,
right
I
there.
never even heard
You
of
have to
this.
chug the whole thing. Yeah.
No way.
So it's just like you can ice somebody, right? It's like
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember that trend.
kind of sounds like being rickrolled a little. bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just more just pain in the ass when it was Napster. Because like I wasted a whole night's sleep waiting for that download. I was so jacked to wake up in the morning, listen to the song. And it's fucking Rick. It's like, ah.
Yeah, I was mostly on LimeWire.
Yeah, LimeWire was my thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I never had LimeWire.
That was a couple years later, I think.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
after
I don't know if
Napster?
Napster was torrents. Was Napster torrenting?
I don't know that
Because
either.
LimeWire was torrenting.
Peer-to-peer
Okay. Yeah.
file sharing.
Yeah, peer-to-peer file sharing. So I don't know what Napster was actually.
Well, I don't remember any of like the torrent or LimeWire being in any of those lawsuits. I always just remember the word Napster
Yeah.
because it was that was.
Well,
the big
Napster
one.
was one of the first.
They were the
for
first, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, I'd download like even like when I was like rudimentary mixing, like making music, producing tracks at my house, I would download like samples from that, and then I would mix it together.
Yeah.
There used to be a program called it was Much Music. The heck was it? MTV's Much Music. It was like Music Generator. And it was like you would bricks and you would like layer in bricks and you get a whack ton of samples. It was like a very like
Cool.
oh man,
That's
it was
pretty sweet,
awesome. Yeah,
actually.
you did so it even when you look at like GarageBand today, it still has like that same vibe as what the Much Music Music Generator
sounds
had,
awesome.
the MTV. And it was a disc. Like you
Right.
throw
Oh,
the
it was a
disc. It was a
disc?
disc. Oh, yeah, you throw it a CD-ROM to pop it in there. And then, you get all these samples, and then you could just pick which samples you want. And it would always put it into you could change the beat tempo, so you could change it to whatever it was. And then you could had claps, everything, like a whack ton of library in there.
Your own beats.
You make your own beats. And it was awesome. And we would make those beats. I got a long story, but I can do that later. But we make these beats, and I have buddies over, and we'd like pretend rap to it because we were really
Cool.
big into CKY at the time,
Yeah,
which was
yeah.
the early Jackass, right?
Yeah.
And
Land
we
speed.
were all into skateboarding, and we just skateboard in our shop and mix these tracks and whatnot. I wasn't the first one to have a CD burner in high school. I was like second or third, I think, because I remember there was one guy. He would burn CDs, and people would pay him money to like, hey, can you get me a song like with a CD with like these songs on it? Because he lived in town, and he was like the only one that had a CD burner.
Awesome.
I mean, we're going back. That's crazy, right?
Hey, do you remember Mario Paint
No.
for Super NES?
Oh,
And it came with a mouse instead of the controller. You had to plug the mouse in.
that rings a bell.
you remember that?
That does ring a bell.
They had a music making part on that too. And it was,
What?
it was like a music sheet.
Oh, I didn't know.
And then
that.
you'd take the little icon, so it'd be like a little Yoshi
yeah.
or a little mushroom, and then each make different sounds. So the Yoshi would be like, and then the mushroom would be like, "Brunk," right? So you could be like, brunk, 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 brunk.
Oh, your parents
brunk,
must love
brunk,
that.
Oh,
brunk.
man.
And then you add in and then the star would be like, digga-digga-dee-dee, digga-digga-dee, digga-digga-dee, and you'd like add all this. And that was like my first experience with
awesome.
like creating beats and stuff was on
How old would you have been?
8, 9, maybe.
Okay, but that was Super NES?
That was SNES, yeah.
Because, see, I had a Nintendo, but that's as far as... Oh, and I had a Sega.
Okay, yeah. Genesis or
I think just Sega.
okay, yeah.
I think it was just Sega. It was the black box with the cartridges stabbed in the top.
Oh, cartridge, yeah, because Genesis was the first one that had the disc.
Oh crap! No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I didn't know the gaming systems that well.
So Genesis was PlayStation came out with the disc, but Genesis had discs before that, if I'm not mistaken.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Holy man. I mean, it's that whole world. I mean, some people got into it. Like they were like hard. It wasn't huge for me because, my parents really regulated it because it was like,
get to work,
get to work.
Yeah.
We got cattle and stuff like that. But yeah, the Nintendo blowing the cartridge out, Duck Hunt, and the original Mario.
Cartridge out.
Oh man,
yeah, man.
it was so funny. We just went and watched Sonic just the other day, and there was the one scene where he puts the USB in the computer. And they're trying to download this code or whatever. And the guy who's remote, he's like, it's not showing up. It's not showing up. He's like, well, hang on a second. And he pulls it out and blows in it and sticks it back in. I was
throwback.
like,
throwback for the
so
millennials. That joke was
so
for you.
Good.
Yeah.
It was I was like, yeah. Like,
that's the parents' joke.
Yeah. I loved it. Yeah, you blow inside, blow on the outside, stick it in. I wouldn't mind, like, I know, I feel like kids nowadays have a little bit more of addictive personalities, but I wouldn't mind getting there's those like a USB drive now that you can get that you just plug right into your TV.
Oh, and 1,000
and you
games.
get like a whole bunch of games, and it's the old school like 64-bit Donkey Kong and whatnot. And I was like, man, I should just get it, just like it. But then I'm scared I get addicted to it. And I got a lot of shit to do in my life. I can't afford to be playing video games.
That's exactly why I don't have a console because like I'll just spend too much time on it.
Yeah. But it's one of those things like we were talking off camera here earlier. Sometimes you just need like those mindless things
moments,
where you can just like just go.
Some
right?
games are like gotta think challenging. There's puzzles
Today.
No, even back then.
Yeah, you think back then too?
Oh, absolutely.
Mario challenged you?
Not Mario, but there's tons of games where you have to like, how do I defeat this boss?
Yeah,
You don't. It's not just mashing buttons.
That's true.
You gotta be
Problem
strategic.
solving.
There's strategic. Yeah.
So
Like,
it's different and mindless. I mean, watching TV is mindless.
I mean, the only things I ever played was Mario, Duck Hunt, and like I had like RoboCop. Oh, I had Street Fighter and Ninja Turtles.
Street Fighter's a little mindless.
Street Fighter's a little
That's
bit-
button mashing. That's button mashing.
But even just the classic music, when you hear it, man, it takes you back. It's those are some
8-bit days.
Oh man, so good. What was the other ones? There was another one, Metro. I never played Zelda. I don't remember if Zelda was on Nintendo or if it was on the next one, but some of the storytelling was really cool. Like there was some really neat stories behind that stuff. Neat things. Back to music though. This morning we were watching I don't know if you guys are snowboarders. Snowboarders? No. Okay. So The Art of Flight, Travis Rice, he made this movie, and the soundtrack to the whole thing is absolutely amazing.
Seen it. Yeah.
But there's some music that transports you into like a calmer time, like a simpler time, or like just like you wish you could have music to be like playing when you're experiencing certain things. So like walking on a beach, you get like a really nice, if you have like really good music, it just makes that whole like a nostalgic kind of vibe. Do you guys ever get that?
All the time.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like punk music, like in my early days, like driving my first car, like, do you remember Kazzer? Pedal to the Metal? No. See, I listened to some weird shit because I was always looking for stuff that wasn't on the mainstream. I wasn't really a big mainstream guy. I was looking for like, I'd watch a movie and I'd hear a song in that movie, and then I'd go to Napster and I'd be like, soundtrack to this, or like, try and find those movies. There was a show called Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser.
Oh yeah,
good movie. What a great movie!
Yeah,
great movie.
Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah,
Alicia Silverstone. I think.
Yeah, exactly. But there was this song called Rhinoceros in it, and it's this song that she's blasting through her speakers, and he walks in and he's like, "What is this?" Right? And I would go out and I'd find those songs. Snowboard movies, surfing movies, always had like there was a movie Afterlame called Robot Food called Afterlame, and it was all the music was just stuff that nobody knew, like the Teddy Bears and like some of the early like Iggy Pop stuff, really unique, experimental, but still had like that rock with a little bit of rap. Head Pay, Old school bands.
Yeah, and those songs like flow well with like the extreme sports. Like if you just watch like a lot of skate videos, it'd be like punk bands and pop punk bands.
Yeah, but within CKY went chaos.
Yeah,
like CKY was just like gah, 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 while they were like throwing dummies off bridges into cars on traffic and like doing crazy stuff and like.
Well, a lot of the music from CKY was the band. CKY.
It was exactly
Can't Kill Yourself.
Well, exactly,
which was Bam Margera's brother was in that band.
That's right.
Yeah. And they were doing all that stuff, like that was all DIY too. Those guys were just kids, right? Like shooting themselves, doing stupid shit.
Stupid stuff, man. Like, and like the fact that half of them, not all of them lived for a very long life, but half of them lived as long as they did is like miraculous.
It's pretty crazy. And like they took in Jackass, they took everything to the extreme. And Jackass was more like grotesque stuff and physical stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas like CKY was like them doing like kind of funny stuff. And they do skits and stuff too, right? Like they'd have characters that they would get into and they do certain skits and stuff, right?
Well, and then they got pulled into Mad TV for a little while there because they had that I'm Kenny Rogers and this is Jackass.
Kenny Rogers Jackass.
Do you remember that? Yeah.
I think that was Mad TV.
Or Mad TV. It's not MTV, Mad TV. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Kenny Rogers Jackass was Mad TV.
Super experimental television that was pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
That's so wild. And that stuff was,
the 90s, man.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, like, I think you still can get away with that stuff. Like, I don't see it that often, but I might just not be in the circles anymore of like how, like, that was extreme stuff. Like when they were like drinking the milk and puking on each other and like it was just
entertainment people.
Oh, but kids especially ate that stuff up.
Yeah.
Now
that's why we're remembering it today, right?
Yeah.
Who we are.
Yeah. I got some questionable things I need to ask myself.
Yeah.
But even like the on the skateboarding end of things, even though they were screwing around and doing stupid things, they were still like doing some pretty impressive stuff. On skateboards.
Bam had a sponsorship.
Yeah.
Like he was sponsored by Etnies or like he had a few sponsors.
Yeah.
And so he was a semi-pro skateboarder at the time.
Right.
And then his brother was in that band. And then a couple of those dudes were skateboarders too. And then wasn't Jason Lee in a couple of those too?
Yep.
Because Jason Lee had a sponsorship too.
That's
he was
right.
a skateboarder as well. And that was probably before they did Dogma? Was he in Dogma or Jay and Silent Bob?
Was Jason Lee?
He was in Clerks or something like that.
Jason Lee was in Mallrats.
Yeah,
Mallrats. That's the one.
But was he in? I think he was in Dogma.
Yeah, he was
man, that's another great movie. I loved that movie. Chris Rock was in that. Sheryl Crow, right? Was God.
Yeah, and the guy who plays Snape.
Alan Rickman?
Alan
Rickman was in it, and George Carlin.
Yeah.
Man, again, like I was just quoting George Carlin the other day, just some of the crazy ideas and thoughts. But the funny thing about like George Carlin, like a lot of his comedy, and even like Robin Williams, two greats that have passed away now. The stuff that they were talking about in the 80s and 90s is still relevant today. Like it's still an issue that we're talking about today. Like when it comes to like, equality, the ultra rich, food security, like governments, taxes, like it's all like just still all there. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was quoting George Carlin the other day because I heard another comedian and I'm like, man, like that sounds a lot like just it's a different context, but it's the same context of what they were talking about back in the 80s. It's kind of crazy. No, it's interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Good. That's another thing we're missing here in Edmonton. Not some good comedy shows. Like good. I haven't gone out very often though.
There's comedy shows all the time.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they're good.
It's just
no
but
offense.
they're usually bringing people in, right?
I've seen some crowds.
Yeah.
I've seen not crowds.
Right.
When I used to do the station, the comedy nights.
Oh yeah.
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
Some nights were good. Some nights it'd be just me laughing at the bar.
Well, It's now the Cabin. What was that bar called? The Urban. No.
The Cabin,
Druid.
The Druid. Yeah.
Yeah. The Druid used to have a comedy night, I think, at one point as well.
Well, there's Grindstone Theater. I'm sure they do. I think they do comedy nights.
Yeah.
There.
And the comic strip is still a thing in West
the mall?
Edmonton Mall, I think.
Is it called the comic strip?
Or no, is that the comedy shop or something?
Something like that.
The one in West Ed,
I know there's one at Londonderry Mall.
Really?
There was a comedy
There
shop.
was one, yeah.
I don't know
Oh,
if
no
there
way.
anymore.
Oh, shit. I'm going to have to check that out.
That's old school, though.
I don't know if it's still there.
I don't know. That mall's dead.
The comic strip
The comic
is
strip.
the one at West Edmonton Mall.
Yeah. Because is that still a Yuck Yucks thing? Or is Yuck Yucks gone? Because I haven't heard that term in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't heard Yuck Yucks
Like
in a
outside
while.
of mainstream comedy, like I don't really listen to like anything else. Like
Well,
if it's
you don't
not,
know. You don't know who's
you just
out
don't
there.
know who's out there.
Right? You just got to latch onto something.
Yeah, and the marketing's got to be like really well done
Yeah.
if you want to be, discovered now. Oh, I got a crazy topic to talk about right now. TikTok might be gone on Monday
Okay.
in the United States. They're like shutting TikTok down.
How did they do that? Can you guys give me a rundown on like what's the technical
That is a great
behind
question.
that?
Because
You
I
know?
mean, China blocks stuff on IP so that
they
people
would-
can't get in.
They would take it off the app stores. I don't know how they would delete it from people's phones.
Well, but then it wouldn't update to new content.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you shut down, like if I shut a URL down on a website and you go to search that website, it won't come up anymore.
Yeah.
So
you totally blocked it, but they're blocking it in a region. Man, I could just use a VPN.
Right.
Yeah,
and
that's
just pretend I'm somewhere else.
yeah. If you're just using a VPN, like
Yeah.
Because there's like a.
I mean, think the states has been blocking tons of sites. Like certain states are like, you can't go on this site, you can't go on that site.
Yeah, and it's
but
like specific sites.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's So you'll still have it. You could still have it on your phone, but maybe it just won't. Like it'll just come up with an error or something like that. But yeah, like how you geo block. And I mean, we've done that in live streaming where we can geo block, where it's just like nobody else can access that IP. I don't know how the system does it. Vimeo can do it. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you can do it in YouTube, actually, to be honest. Like if you can geo block your own content if it's private. When we've done streams, we've geo blocked.
So you only
before.
geo block to like a certain region?
Yeah, so we can just be like anything outside of Canada.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you can't.
Sure.
You can't.
but
Nobody,
like Ryan
nobody can
says,
view it.
The VPN is just your workaround for that,
Yeah.
right? Is it not?
Pretty much,
Yeah.
essentially. I would assume so. Yeah.
Can you get a VPN for your phone?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can get. Yeah,
You can do anything on your phone.
pretty much. Yeah. You fly to the moon on this thing.
So how they would implement the block? Most people won't be able to get on, but if people still want to get on, I'm sure there's a way. But if most people aren't on, then what's the point?
Yeah. Well, and what the big argument was that there's a whack ton of creators that make a living on TikTok because they're getting paid for like advertising and all that sort of jazz. Now, that being said, like their new president comes in on Friday. So Friday or Monday? Friday, I think. And then he in his first term was trying to get rid of TikTok, and now he's a fan of TikTok because apparently I don't know where he got these stats because it's been proven that it's incorrect, but I don't know anymore. I don't know what's real anymore. That he won like 36% of the youth through TikTok, and they're saying no, he didn't. But anyway, now he's saying he likes it.
Sorry.
He's getting sworn because it's the 20th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They put 30 miles of fence up.
Sorry. Yeah, the 20th. Yeah.
Yeah. 30 miles of fence up around the house just to get for the inauguration. 30 miles. That's a lot. And then one comedian was like, "Oh, hey, he did build the wall."
Around himself.
So who's pushing the TikTok ban? Because
it's Congress, like
it's
U.S. Congress.
Because when I brought up I just Googled TikTok and went to the news, and it says the first two articles, one's BBC saying Trump will stop the platform going dark, and then the one down from that is NBC News saying Biden administration looks for ways to keep TikTok available. So the past president and the next president both say they're trying to fight this. So it's Congress?
It is Congress. It's going to an actual vote on a bill, apparently. But again, like, I just don't know if what I'm reading is legit anymore. But this was, and I also watched it on late night talk, late night television with Colbert and I think the other one I watched was Kimmel.
Okay.
And I watched Fallon as well, and they all were talking about it too. So, but that could be a big game changer. Like, it's kind of wild. Like, it's all because of China. Like it's all because they're stealing our data and all that sort of jazz. And
everybody got really scared about those air fryers. The air fryers stealing your data.
Air fryers. Oh my god.
They're listening to. It's true though. It was happening.
Well,
right?
and I mean, and Apple, Apple got in big crap too. Like I think they've lost that suit on how their phones were actually listening. Like always, like they were always picking up your voice.
Yeah.
And so that's apparently a legit thing. And there is a suit, and you can go and look to see if you're like eligible for. Well, it's probably not going to be a lot of money, but
divided up between. Billions.
Well, they're trying to put together class action, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
So then the more people, the stronger it is, I guess.
Think
right?
so. Yeah.
Yeah, I got this new phone, a couple months ago, and it's an iPhone, and the top little bar here shows like kind of what's on and what's off.
Okay.
And then there's a little yellow dot on the top bar if your microphone's being accessed by an app. So like it turned on a couple weeks ago. I'm like, what the hell? Like I closed all my apps, and then I actually went into the microphone setting, and like went to. See what's using it,
sharing it,
and it said it even my phone even said we don't know what's accessing your microphone right now.
What?
So I think I just turned the phone on and off, and then it fixed it. But something was accessing my microphone that the phone didn't even know.
Fixed the light.
Fixed the light.
Yeah, right. Oh, the light's on. We'll just turn it off.
Yeah. Oh crap! Rewrite that code real quick.
So I've been saying a lot of nice things about the Chinese government the last couple of weeks.
Could be government. Could be our friends up in the sky. Maybe
could be your
maybe they're onto you.
Maybe they're onto me.
Could be your bandmates.
Yeah, my bandmates. Yeah, I wish they would listen to me more.
Do anything.
Oh shit! All right, well, we should probably cut her there. Completely unplanned episode. Just riffing what was on the top of our head. Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah.
And which is probably going to be a lot of our stuff. But I had a good time today and did our weekly brain dump. Go check out
Teacup Romance.
Teacup Romance
Playing on the 23rd at Dive Bar.
Sweet.
Nice,
January 23rd.
January 23rd.
Dive Bar. Yeah. Okay, that's 23rd, 2025. So if you're listening to this a year from now, don't go to the bar.
You could try.
Okay,
Yeah.
Now you'll be on the big stages then.
We'll
when's your next gig at Blues?
Ooh, nothing booked right now. The Commandeers, one of Edmonton's premier cover bands, booking right now for
for your wedding
parties, weddings.
Nice, right on. Still doing Christmas parties.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll do Christmas parties all year round, baby.
Yeah.
Got a Christmas party in August? Book us. We're there.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks again. Have a great weekend.
Yep.
Peace.